Upgrading from the Sony A7 IV to the A7S III felt like one of the toughest decisions I've ever had to make in my life. It's been almost a year since I've made this switch, and I wanted to do a video to ask myself, is there anything I miss about the A7 IV? And is it really that much better when it comes to video quality? So to give you guys some context, the A7 IV is my all-time favorite camera. Even to date, it is still my favorite camera. In fact, this video itself is still being shot on my A7 IV. I loved it so much, I didn't even want to sell it to get the A7S III. Ultimately, I feel like if I found myself in this boat where I'm debating internally, having an existential crisis on should I get the A7S III when I already own an A7 IV, I wanted to make this video to just give you some peace of mind if you're going to make that decision. Throughout this video, I'm just going to be playing some B-roll clips on footage that I've taken on the A7S III, and yeah, may your eyes just be blessed, I guess. So what ultimately makes the A7S III a worthy successor to upgrading from the A7 IV to the S III, especially when it comes to video? Obviously, if you're doing photos and videos, it's a no-brainer to stay with the A7 IV. And if you're going to continue to do photography work for your clients, you're going to want to keep it because you don't want to be renting out an A7 IV every time you have to shoot. We're going to talk videos specific. So the first thing that made it ultimately worth it for me, where it eliminated that buyer's remorse that I had, was when I finally got to use it when I was shooting for a client and shoot 60 frames a second and not experience that crop in factor. I cannot tell you how much that bugged me. Sure, you can turn it into an advantage. You can use it for the best of, like turning a 35mm lens into a lens that zooms in a bit more. But for me, I'm shooting at these lenses for specific reasons. I'm shooting my 35 or 20-40-70. I want to be able to have the full picture. A lot of people like to talk about how incredible the A7S III is at low light. So you have the 12 megapixel camera inside the A7S III, but you have the 33 megapixel sensor in the A7 IV. When all of that gets squishy. And so with all those pixels being squished, you don't really see all that noise, and it actually competed fairly well with the A7S III. I'll actually bring up two examples of low light weddings, and weddings are a great example because it's not like I can roll up in there with my Mursa big lights. So yeah, we have a beautiful wedding shot in Cape Town, low light, just French kiss, what a beautiful couple. And then here's my brother-in-law's wedding, which was shot on the A7S III inside, and both of them, even if you look at it side by side, they both look incredible. So I wouldn't make this decision over low light shooting. One thing I do miss though about the A7 IV, especially if I'm taking one camera with me to a shoot, is being able to hybrid shoot. This isn't very much of the greatest of hybrid cameras. It is primarily, it's a video camera. I know a lot of people say it's great for hybrid, but no, bro. The A7 IV is great for hybrid. Oh gosh, being able to switch from like 4K 60 frames, even though it's cropped in, straight into your photo mode and just bang out the most glorious photos of your life. You don't get that feeling with the A7S III, but that being said, you can bang out the most glorious videos with this bad boy. So there's that. Now, can we quickly talk about the overheating? This topic is brought up quite a lot with the A7 IV and A7S III. I never really experienced overheating on the A7 IV. Maybe I should really just count myself lucky and enter the lotto, but I would even put the dummy battery in. I would Twitch stream for 8 hours. Obviously, it's at 1080p. If you Twitch streaming, you're not going to Twitch stream at 4K. That bitrate is going to slosh your gosh. So I never experienced overheating. The only time maybe I really felt it was when I was filming the longest vlog of my life at Summerfest. It was like this open field. It was cooking. It was cooking. Like, honestly, I became a bacon by the end of that day. But that was one time out of the year that I used the A7 IV that it just warned me of potential overheating. Whereas the A7S III, this bad boy just, overheating, what is overheating? So if you want to future-proof to make sure you're not going to overheat if you're shooting for extensive periods of time, the A7S III is going to be more peace of mind for that. A lot of research will tell you that the autofocus tracking system in the A7 IV is a little bit better than the A7S III. Now, I'm not finding myself in extreme sports where I've noticed that tracking is a bit better than the A7 IV. I did film at a horse riding jumping show this past weekend with the A7S III, and for me the tracking was perfectly fine. I didn't experience it where it jumped from one horse to the other. In fact, I could even track the one horse and have a horse walk in front of me and it would still keep notice of the horse that I originally tracked onto in the background. I hope this is making sense. Overall, if you find yourself in the same boat where you have the A7 IV and you're leaning more towards cinematography, going into video production, and you're thinking of getting the A7S III, I would say it is absolutely worth it in that case, especially since you have the no crop, 100 frames a second, 120 frames a second in 4K, and you're more future-proofed on it not overheating. The tracking is, I've not experienced it being worse than the A7 IV. It's just an incredible workhorse of a camera. You're going to be sorted for a very, very, very long time. If you've already bought your A7S III and you're watching this video for validation on your purpose, on your purchase, I promise you it gets better with the more projects that you do. As you're using it for your video projects and as you get to know the camera a bit more, and there'll be moments where you're like, did I really need to get this over the A7 IV? There'll be moments where you're like, damn, thank goodness I made this purchase.